Hi everybody. Today is February 3rd of 2011. My name is Stuart Schlossman of MS Views and News, and I'm here today to speak with you about swallowing difficulties and multiple sclerosis. And yes, I too have swallowing difficulties, and yes, I too have multiple sclerosis. So, there's not much that I'm actually going to say about it because we're going to link you into a National MS Society webcast with Kate Milliken about this subject. It's very well informed. You can learn a lot from it, and I hope you share it with others as well. So without taking up much more of your time, I'm going to leave you with that, and just come on back and see us. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us at our blog, Stu's Views and MS News, or at our website, msviewsandnews.org. And by the way, while at the website, look at our new section on CCSVI stories, patient stories, and more. Okay, have a great day. Bye-bye.
Welcome to MS Learn Online. I'm Kate Milliken. Swallowing is something that we usually don't even think about, but for some people with MS, the simple act of swallowing can be a problem. Patricia Bednarek, a speech-language pathologist at the University of Pittsburgh, joins us to talk about the swallowing problems that some people with MS may experience. We think of swallowing as a simple act, yet the act of swallowing consists of multiple phases. Pat, why don't we start with what the phases are?
Okay, well, there are many phases of swallowing. The oral preparatory stage is the stage where it's before we even get food into our mouths, and that is how food is presented. And that is where our body is actually getting ready to receive food. So it deals with the psychological aspect of anticipation, getting ready. The saliva actually will start flowing upon looking at food. Our gastric juices in our stomach will start to be produced, and we are already anticipating, hopefully with pleasure, that we're going to be eating. And this stage is very, very important, particularly for those people who may be on modified diets. The next stage of the swallow is the oral stage of the swallow, where the food is actually brought up and put into the mouth. And this involves the chewing stage. And during this stage is where the tongue and the teeth, of course, are working together to grind up the food, mix it with saliva, break it down into smaller pieces so that it's easier to swallow. This is where the tongue needs to be able to move around. The cheeks and the lips need to have really good muscle tone, because otherwise you will get pocketing in the cheeks, under the tongue. There may be some food that gets left on the tongue when we get ready to swallow. The next stage, as the food moves over the back of the tongue, we are now starting to go into the next stage of the swallow, which is called the pharyngeal swallow, okay, or the swallow of the throat. Okay, in this stage, to make it very simple, what happens in the throat part of the swallow, or the pharyngeal stage, is the food starts going over the back of the tongue down the throat. The soft palate, which has that little uvula in the back of your throat, that raises up and blocks off the back of your throat so that the food doesn't come out your nose. Okay? And it redirects the food down the back of your throat. At the same time, the tongue is coming up and pushing against the back of your throat to help push that food down. As the food is coming down, your voice box, or your larynx, is moving up and forward, and there's a structure in your throat called the epiglottis, and you can't see it from the outside, which is a good thing, but it actually is moving down over your windpipe or your trachea to help close that off, so that food is not going to go in there, so the food will hit it and be deflected. Underneath the epiglottis, as everything's being pulled up and forward, your vocal cords are moving over your windpipe to close off the airway. Now this is all going on at the same time in this pharyngeal stage. So the food is now moving through the throat. It's getting now to the muscle that is at the top of the esophagus. And that muscle now is starting to relax. This is all happening simultaneously.
Amazing. Amazing.
Okay, the very last stage of the swallow is called the esophageal stage, and that stage begins as the muscle at the top of the esophagus is opening up and the food is starting to pass from the throat into the esophagus, and now it's heading for the stomach. The amount of time that it takes the food to travel from the muscle at the top of the esophagus into the stomach can be anywhere from 8 to 20 seconds.
So what are the problems specifically that people with MS experience in those 4 stages of swallowing? Is there one stage that's bigger than the other?
Most of the problems we see are problems in the throat stage. Although because of you can have lesions in a variety of places, you can see problems in all the stages with the exception of the oral preparatory in MS, and we certainly have at our clinic. The problems are problems of in order to swallow, you need really good coordination of timing, rate, respiration, pressure. Everything needs to go just right. A split second can make a difference. And you need to be able to coordinate breathing and swallowing, which is a very, very important function.
It's quite amazing. You take it for granted that that's something that's so easy, and that if part of the system gets knocked off, on how much it can really affect people.
Absolutely, absolutely. And